So there are two ways to manage your mind for excellence. The first one is protect. Stand guard at the doorway of your mind. Unless you decide to hole up in a cave or on a desert island, you're going to get dirty water in your glass. It's going to be on billboards, on CNN while you're walking through the airport, on screaming tabloid headlines at the checkout when you're buying your groceries, etc. Even your friends, family, and your own negative mental tapes can flood dirty water into your glass. But that doesn't mean you can't take steps to limit your exposure to all that grime. Maybe you can't avoid the tabloids stacked up at the checkout register, but you can cancel your subscription. You can refuse to listen to the radio to and from work and instead put in an instructional and inspirational CD. You can turn off the evening news and talk to your loved ones instead. You can buy a DVR and record only those programs you feel are truly educational and life-affirming, and then speed through the commercials aimed at making you feel inadequate or lacking unless you buy more crap. Let me give you a few suggestions on how to better control the information you let into your head and still manage your life. Here's number one. I want to show you how you can completely change the world in an instant. This might be a bit controversial for many, and even more won't have the stomach to do what I'm suggesting. You can rid the world of all wars, crimes, scandals, gossip, corruption, international conflict in an instant. No joke. You have that much power in the palm of your hand. Are you ready to change the world? If you dare, hit the off button. Turn off your TV, turn off your radio, turn off your newspaper subscription. The media thrives on taking us hostage. Have you ever been stuck on a freeway with traffic backed up for miles, making you late, wondering what the heck's holding everything up? Sure enough, when you finally get close, you see that nothing physical is blocking the flow of cars. The wreck clearly happened a while ago and has since been moved to the side of the freeway. The 3-mile-per-hour crawl was caused by people doing what? Rubbernecking. Now you're really irritated. But what happens when your car passes the wreck? You slow way down, take your eyes off the road in front of you, and crane your own neck. You can't help it, can you? Why do good, decent people want to see something tragic and maybe grotesque? It is our genetic heritage, going back to our prehistoric sense of self-preservation. We just can't help ourselves, even if we're adept at avoiding negativity, and we've trained ourselves to be relentlessly positive. When it comes to sensationalism, our basic nature cannot resist. Media masters understand this. They know your nature in many ways better than you. The media has always used shocking and sensational headlines to draw attention. But today, instead of just 3 TV and news radio networks, there are hundreds running 24/7. Instead of just a few newspapers, there are endless portals reaching us from our computers to our phones. The competition for your attention has never been bloodier, and the media jockeys continually up the ante in shock value. They find a dozen or so of the most heinous, scandalous, criminal, murderous, bleak, and horrid things that happen in the world each day and parade them through our papers, news channels, and over the web over and over. Meanwhile, during that same 24-hour period, millions of wonderful, beautiful, incredible things have happened, yet we hear very little about them. Why? Because it is the shock that sells. Let's go back to our freeway. Instead of a wreck on the side of the road, what if there was the most stunning, miraculous sunset you've ever seen? What would happen to the traffic then? I've seen this many times. It just whizzes by at top speed. The great danger of the media is that it gives us a very perverted view of the world. Because the focus and the repetition of messaging is on the negative, that's what our minds start believing. This warped and narrow view of what's not working has a severe influence on your creative potential. It can be crippling. Here's the controversial part. Early on, I learned the difference between the world and my world. I only pay attention to my world. After all, it's the only thing I can do anything about. Paying too much attention to the rest of it only makes me feel fearful, frustrated, and cynical. All I have in my life is my attention. Where I give my attention, so goes my life. I have to make a choice about where I give it. That choice affects my experience of life and determines my potential for positive creativity. I can focus it on the worst of the world or the best. I can focus it on things I can't do anything about, or I can focus it on those things that I can and that have a direct impact on my life and my family. And I can tell you this practice has not limited my intellectual capacity, my social banter, or my financial opportunities. In fact, it has benefited me immensely in all those areas. If you don't have the stomach for that kind of cold turkey cord cutting, consider the next suggestion. Suggestion number 2, selective listening. I set up RSS feeds to pull information on specifically what I do need to stay on top of for my productive purposes. I register for newsletters or blog updates on topics and subjects that are relevant to my objectives. Once they become unproductive, I unsubscribe. Does this make you not well-rounded, you ask? There's no such thing. We are always scanning the world for what is relevant to us. I just don't think it's necessary to pick through the trash can looking for a crust of bread when I can have the bread I want delivered to my doorstep. I also don't get the trash on me or in my head. Here's suggestion number 3. Go on a diet. A low information diet, that is. If you aren't comfortable getting only the most productive and relevant information you need to be more successful, then at least put yourself on a low info diet. Limit your intake of news and information. You don't need to be tied to every Wall Street Journal financial crisis text update. You don't need to be up on all the local news crime status. The world will go on just fine without your constant watchful eye. Trust me. If you must, find 15 minutes a day to catch up on all the national and world news updates, whether through a favorite news aggregator online, newspaper, or single radio program. Then, don't overconsume. It's riddled with toxic ingredients. Here is a 4th suggestion that will lead us to the second way to manage your mind for excellence. Suggestion number 4, mind your E to E ratio. I interviewed Brian Tracy recently. He had a great equation that I'd like to share with you. I asked him, what is the primary difference between the 5% who are wealthy and those that are not? He said the 95% focus their attention and extra time on entertainment, while the 5% look to spend their extra time on education. Evaluate yourself. How much time do you spend on entertainment and how much time on education? The imbalance of this equation could be the reason your life isn't where you want it to be. Let me challenge you with something. Most people go through life like spectators, resolved to live vicariously through other people's achievements. I've always found it fascinating and downright baffling why people spend so much time studying and discussing the statistics, wins, losses, trades, and career moves of sports stars and actors and actresses. If they spent half as much time studying their own statistics and exercise the same fanatical enthusiasm about their own life's competitions, it would be them living the victorious life. Instead, they abdicate their own life, goals, and ambitions, allocating their precious time to revering the achievements of other men and women, people who, if they met in an alley, would probably not slow their pace to offer their signature. I'm simply prodding you with the thought to get out of the bleachers and off the couch and get in the game. Spend the majority of your time on the field of your life and focus all of your life force on your victories and the victories of the people around you in the real world, not the world portrayed on the big screens and the little screens of movies and TV. Look, a little entertainment, a break from your conquests out in the marketplace is fine. That is what the other E in the E to E ratio stands for. I'm just proposing you don't get too wrapped up in the chronicles, gossip, and media titillations of these people's careers and lives. Care more about your life, stats, victories, and defeats than other people's. Did you know that it's estimated that Americans 12 and older spend 1,704 hours watching TV per year? That averages out to 4.7 hours per day. We're spending almost 30% of our waking hours watching TV. Almost 33 hours per week, more than one whole day per week. It is the equivalent of watching TV for 2 solid months out of every 12. Wow! And people wonder why they're not getting ahead in life. So, if you do click that off button, what then? What do you do with all this extra time? Now, let's look at the second way to manage your mind for excellence. 1 is to protect it, and 2 is to feed it. If you want to think differently, you have to feed your mind the thoughts, ideas, and inspiration it needs to help you achieve your ambitions and goals. Your mind needs a regular diet of nutrient-rich food, bread for the head, as Jim Rohn calls it. I consider the feeding of my mind like a race. I want to feed my mind faster, more often, and with the best possible training, knowledge, and insights than anyone else around me. I'm looking to feed my mind at absolutely every opportunity. 10 minutes here, 30 minutes there, an extra hour early in the morning or late at night. Minute by minute, I can feel myself inching further ahead of my contemporaries until I'm not even visible to them on the distant horizon. Here is one practice that stacks on the hours and gets me miles ahead, literally. My car won't move without two things: gasoline and an ever-present library of instructional CDs that I listen to as I drive around. As a society, we average about 12,000 miles a year. That's 300 hours of feeding time, baby. Brian Tracy taught me early in life to turn my car into a mobile classroom. He explained that if you listen to instructional CDs as you drive, each year is the equivalent of 2 semesters of an advanced degree in college. Think about it. In the time you are already spending, you could obtain a PhD in leadership, sales success, wealth building, relationship excellence, whatever course, CD program you sign up for. This combined with a regular reading routine, and you could separate yourself from the herd of average, CD by CD, book by book. And certainly, I recommend the CDs that come free inside every issue of Success Magazine. Could I be the ambassador for success and not passionately recommend it to you? Of course not. Additionally, we offer success book summaries, which culls the best ideas from 3 of the top books in the area of accelerated personal achievement. Each edition is also delivered in audio format, so you can listen to it in your car. These resources are a few of the many available to you. The key is to choose your input wisely. Maximize your time, education, and ultimately your success by feeding your brain the information it needs to help you achieve your goals. I'll tell you, I'm listening to instructional content while I run, weight train, walk the dogs. Anytime my body is busy but my mind is free, it's feeding time, baby. Here's a simple plan that you can do no matter how busy you currently are in life, but can still get your mind flushed and fed every single day without fail. It's called the 1030 plan. Simply put, every day, work day, you can take the weekends off if you must. We wouldn't want you to be overly personally developed or anything. Read 10 pages of a good book or magazine and listen to 30 minutes of an instructional audio. My recommendation is, say 5 pages in the morning when you first get up and 5 pages in the evening just before you go to bed. This will calibrate your head at the 2 most important bookends of your day. It will set your head straight in the morning, thinking about what's positive and what's possible, and fill your head full of ideas, dreams, and aspirations to work on all night long as you sleep. I'm a bit of an overachiever, so instead of just 5 pages, I read for 30 minutes in the morning when I first get up and 30 minutes just before lights out. No less, no more. So, does that give me an advantage? You bet it does. Remember, it's a race. This is an easy rhythm that I really enjoy and have come to rely on. Now, the 30 minutes of instructional audio will happen naturally if every time you drive around, go for a walk or run or walk the dogs or exercise, you are listening to instructional audios. When you do it is up to you, but without spending a single minute more than the activities you're already engaged in every day, you can get the 30 minutes of an instructional audio consumed and probably then some. Sounds simple enough? It really is, and will be what it takes to become the person who would achieve your goals and who would deserve them. Now, let me paint you a picture, mathematically, of the results this simple discipline and dedication to the 1030 plan can have in your life. Brian Tracy outlined this in his book called Focal Point about how to improve in any area of your life by 1,000%. No, not 10% or even 100%, but 1,000%. Let me detail it for you here. All you have to do is improve yourself, your performance, and your output and earnings by 0.1% each workday. That's 1/1,000th. Do you think you could do that? Of course, anyone could do that. It's simply a matter of staying consistent with your 1030 plan and practicing the new ideas you learn in your life each day. Simple. Do it each workday of the week and you'll improve by 0.5% each week. Translation, not much. Equaling 2% each month, which compounded adds up to 26% each year. Again, no overnight success story here. Your income now doubles each 2.9 years. By year 10, you can be performing and earning 1,000% of what you are now. Isn't that amazing? Do you want to have 1,000% more money in the bank 10 years from now than you do now? Or how about improving your marriage, the positive influence and connection with your kids, your leadership ability, your sales skills, your presentation skills, your health and vitality, whichever you choose to give energy by 1,000%. The spectacular part of all of this is you don't have to put in 1,000% more effort or work 1,000% more hours, just 0.1% improvement each day. That's it. All achieved by practicing the rhythm of the 10-30 plan. So, are you going to do it? 10 pages of a good book or magazine, one in particular I recommend, and 30 minutes of an instructional audio per day. When I had lunch with Donnie Deutsch one time, I asked him, after interviewing hundreds of successful entrepreneurs and being one himself, what he thought the number one principle to success was. This was his answer. He said, "The most important thing I say is, are you learning every day? Are you growing every day? Are you being challenged every day? That is the key to success. The day that stops happening, the world's going to turn in the wrong direction for you." So, are you convinced? I sure hope so. Hey, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom here, or as the story in the beginning told, I'm sending the rowboat, the powerboat, and the helicopter here. Just get on board. And here's the third, potentially disastrous or magnificent influence you must be extremely diligent about. This one I might suggest as the most insidious because it is so powerful, yet so subtle. Subtle and powerful are two dangerous combinations. What is this third influence? Your associations. Who is influencing you?